Hey, good morning. Good morning, Sunday. Happy Sunday. And man, I wish I had an encouraging post. I tried to earlier with my Christmas tree post as I was looking at that this morning, thinking about today's daily dose. And man, it's a hard one. Today may not be as encouraging. Maybe it's an eye opener. Maybe it's something you don't want to hear if you're in this predicament, so to speak. And we've been just talking about all these numbers for quite a while. Numbers, staggering numbers of this pandemic, and like where the world is at, and in the country, right? If you're in the United States, if you're not, this will still be related to you as well because I'm sure it's a challenge. And it's the numbers that I was looking at because it's something that I've made as a professional career for myself and helping people with weight loss and so forth. But let me just talk about, which is kind of, I wish I could say it was something that was going to be encouraging. I hope this turns into an encouraging dose, and we're going to go with it. And it took me a little time to get this going, so I do apologize. I'm a little bit late, but man, there's staggering numbers that are out there in this world. Lots of staggering numbers, right? Staggering numbers, where who to believe, who to trust, so forth, so on. And when it comes down to, I'm not the expert on finding the numbers. And let's just talk like coronavirus and the staggering numbers and whether you agree with all the statistics and who gets sick and who should wear a mask and who's dead and who's like all those things and what we should and shouldn't do. This is what this daily dose is about. It's about a different number. It's something that it's really easy to not want to think about, especially in the United States, because there's so many people who don't want to think about it, who don't want to address it. And it's an epidemic number of obesity. And you know what's really disheartening? My heart is really heavy right now. And this is like the God's honest truth because it's something that I've made my life's work helping people to get out of. And as much as I try to do the best I can as one coach, I'm only one coach. There's a huge amount of people out there, population of people, over 40%. Did you realize now? And I did some research and I looked up a bunch of different numbers, statistically speaking, and it's not a surprise because I've been looking at these numbers over the years that just keeps going up and up and up and up, and it's the epidemic of obesity. And did you know? I want to share with you some statistics. The annual healthcare costs related to obesity related illness. So let me just share with you as far as the cost in general. We're spending, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, close to 8 or 900 billion dollars on healthcare related illnesses and expenses and stuff. And again, it's in that number. It's ridiculous. But can you just think about this for a moment? 21% of the annual medical spending in the U.S. is related to obesity. 21%. Let's just do the math on that. $190.2 billion. And you can go on, which is really kind of an eye opener, more of a shocking number, way more shocking than how many people die because of coronavirus or get infected, or way more than what this whole world and in the United States are completely panicking over. Don't get me wrong. I'm not to discount that coronavirus isn't a real thing, right? There's a lot of things out there real that are killing us. You can get in your car and drive and get hit by a car because somebody's texting. There's problems everywhere, right? That's not for me to discuss. It's more where I'm in tune with as far as in this epidemic of obesity, and it's getting really bad. And here's the crazy thing in the statistic that I just shared with you is where we really need to look at as a country is looking at where the next generation is to come. Now, I don't know about you. I know I only have a certain amount of time left on this earth, but I do know that I have 2 kids and potentially more kids and grandkids. And chances are, if you are a mom or dad or a grandparent, is you value your kids. You value maybe the next generation. You value the grandchildren. And I'll tell you what's really, really more disheartening for me is childhood obesity. Check this out. I did some research on this. Did you know that childhood obesity, we're not even talking about other like stuff, childhood obesity alone, out of that $190 billion cost, $14 billion in direct medical costs because of childhood obesity. And I'll tell you what's like what's like hard for me to think about is like, where are we going? Yeah, I get it. The world wants us to focus on this pandemic. Well, what about all the other freaking problems that are in this world? What about the freaking epidemic of obesity? What's crazy? It's just like, and I say that I can get upset and mad about it, and that's not the way to do. It's not going to solve anything, right? People get mad about what's going on in this world. It's not going to solve anything, but you can control certain things. You can control the choices you make. You can control the decisions that you have when it is pertaining to how do you get healthier. Now, it's interesting if you're running around or maybe hiding and you're scared and you're nervous, you don't want to go out and catch this coronavirus. But what if you're 100 pounds overweight and you're unhealthy and you're getting more and more overweight and you're becoming part of the epidemic statistic? And guess what? That could cost you your life. The reality is, right, all the causes of death like that are exponentially greater risks when you are obese at the end of the day, whether you're looking at body mass index, body fat index, all of those things. The reality is diabetes. I wrote these down because it's like I didn't want to miss one, but there's so many: diabetes, cardiovascular disease, some cancer, stroke, quality of life, right? Decreased quality. Now you might be like, I'm happy being fat, right? Okay, you can say that, and that's cool. And if you are, that's awesome. This message isn't for you. But if you're like a lot of people that I talk to who are miserable in their own skin, can't even look at themselves in the mirror in the morning, are disappointed they can't play with their kids in the backyard because they're out of breath just from walking in the backyard. Like, that's the quality of life. Mental illness, do you not think that there's mental illness related to that? Body pain and difficulty, physical conditioning as far as just in general, to get up and to move, to get out of your house and to walk, to go to the grocery store, to function at work. Can you imagine how much it's costing people? Like, I know for a fact, and I can just go from the statistics in my house. And now I've only worked for another company when I was at a physical therapy school and worked in the physical therapy field. And I worked for a hospital, right? And I didn't miss work once. My wife and I have been married for we've been together for 20 years, married for 18 years. Don't worry, I didn't forget. May 25th, 2002. I'll never forget that. Great moment in my life. But I would say is my wife's been working as a nurse practitioner for 20 years. She's actually was an RN before that. And you know how many days that she was out of work? Because of being sick or because of something health like related, except for like having to take a family member to a doctor's appointment or something. I'm talking about like being sick. Do you know how many times she was out of work? Zero out of work. Zero. You can go look up the statistics. If you're a business owner, hey, yesterday was Small Business Saturday, right? Well, I'm a small business owner. It's Small Business Owner Day every single day, right? And if you want to patron a small business, if you want to not become part of that statistics, you and I maybe need to talk. You know, I got a Black Friday crazy insane deal going on. But here's the crazy thing is, for me, is to think of how many people that are out there that need help. Over 40% of the United States population, 40% of adults are obese, overweight. And I say it's disheartening because what's to happen in 30 or 40 years? We're also concerned about this coronavirus taking us all out, but there's an underlying maybe more hidden. And I think the problem is so many of us right now in this world, in this country, so to speak, not so to speak, truthfully, are out of shape and overweight. They're obese. And it's not getting better. And guess what? The cost is going to be more. We talk about how much we can, saving lives. What are you doing to save your own life? What are you doing? Like you can't put a mask over being obese. You can't put a mask over having problems with your health. And I would say is why it's disheartening for me is, as one coach, I know I can only help so many people. I know I only have the power in my ability to help so many people. Maybe this is just that eye-opener. Maybe you needed to hear this message if you're listening right now. I know not everybody's going to listen to this message. I know 40% of the population isn't going to give a crap about what I say. They don't care, right? The reality is you care like what you want now. I want to eat. I want to be merry. I want to enjoy. Look, even if you've been stuck, I can't imagine in the next couple of years, because of this world, this country being locked down, the repercussions after, how many people are going to have the costs. that are going to be associated, not right now, direct costs. I'm talking about later in the next years, from your kids being home for the last year and the next couple of years, and the mental toll it's taking. Not to mention all of the people who are already going into coronavirus, obese, who didn't even have a chance, couldn't even get out, even if they wanted to. Like, that's what's disheartening for me. So sorry if this is a bit of a bummer Sunday. The reason why I bring this up is not to get you down about it, is to actually just to make there be more awareness. Is like, I think I get disheartened when I see how many people are freaking out over what's going on with a virus, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not negligent about it, I understand, but it's interesting that there's so many other way bigger issues, way bigger problems out there in the world. There's people dying every single day just of starvation, just because they don't have food. There's people dying every single day because they're obese. Like, there's like both sides of the spectrum. And I want you to be encouraged. If you are out of shape, if you are overweight, do you want to become that statistic? Do you want to be a part of that epidemic that has been growing and growing and growing with people's waistlines, so to speak, over the years? I've been in this industry for 25 years, and when I first started, it was not that bad. I mean, I was saying it was not nearly that bad. I remember when I was a kid growing up, when I was in the 80s, a kid in the 80s growing up in school, there was a handful of kids and unfortunately they got teased. Like, the kids that were overweight and obese, they got teased. And I'm not saying, again, that's a terrible thing to happen for any child, to be teased in school. But soon enough, it's going to be the fit people, the people who are actually healthy and in shape, who are going to get teased, because the population is going to turn, and it's going to be 60, 70, 80%. The world's going to become all obese and overweight. And guess what? You think it's going to cost us less, or do you think it's going to cost us more? It's just going to cost us, excuse the language, a shit ton more money. It's going to be, people are going to be out of shape. There are going to be more people in hospitals. There are going to be people dying at earlier death. There's going to be more cancers. There's going to be earlier diabetes. There's going to be cardio. Now, I have a lot of this in my family, so I'm very attuned to that. I have family members who are obese, who are overweight, who are out of shape, who are unhealthy, who have these high risks. And my question to you is, do you want to be that high risk? So I want to end this on an encouraging note. The one thing I know is that God's empowered me with skill set for 25 years of being able to help people get out of that. If you've been following me any period of time, you know that I am a coach. I work with people online. I do this. This is my livelihood. It is not free. It is not cheap, but I can tell you it's far less expensive, far less expensive than the costs that could cost you, not just maybe a job or not just being out of work, but it could be costing you money. It could be costing you health insurance costs. It can cost you family experiences that you're missing out on. It can be costing you the doctor's visits, not having to go to doctor's offices because you need knee replacements, because you've been walking on an extra 50 pounds for the last 20 years, and now your joints are shot on medications. All those things. That's what you're looking for, and you're saying that that's going to be far less expensive, have at it. Have at it. But again, the world is going in that direction, and this is not necessarily to scare you. I'm more scared for my next generation, the next generation of my family, my kids and grandchildren, to come into this world. And my wife and I were talking the other day, it's like there's some part of me that almost doesn't want more kids to come into this world because of what they're going to be faced with. And it's sad. And that's why my heart is heavy today. So what can you do? Back into this kind of heart heavy message is if you are that person that's stuck and struggling, and you think maybe having a coach is an expense and a very costly thing, how much is it costing you to not get your life back in order? How much is it costing you to continue to be overweight or obese or part of that statistic? How much is it going to cost you in health insurance? How much is it going to cost you in doctor's visits? How much is it going to cost you in lost times out of work? How much is it going to cost you in family experiences that you can't enjoy because you're overweight and obese? Just in the backyard playing with your kids, and you have to sit down because you're out of breath. How much is that costing you? I know it's easy to just push those down, to stuff them down and just avoid them and then get disappointed. And unfortunately, that's a downward spiral, because then what happens? Well, we go to the things that we have a poor relationship with, and that's food. And then we eat more and we consume more, or we watch TV and sit around and watch news and negativity. And then that brings us down in a downward spiral even more so. You have the choice. You have the opportunity. You can do something, whether it's with me as your coach by your side or it's somewhere else. But I can tell you, it's not looking good. I'm telling you that. Like, I know our focus is on coronavirus and whether somebody's allowed to cough in public or not anymore. But I'll tell you what, the truth of the matter is $190.2 billion in annual healthcare costs on obesity. And that's something that, man, it's hard. It's my heart is heavy. I hope if God gives me if he gives me a way to help more people, I'm going to do just that. And if you want my help, if you want help from a real coach who's been doing this for a long time, is helping people, I'm helping remove some of those people from that statistics. I'm helping people get out of their rut, getting unstuck. But here's the thing, it's not a magic potion or a pill. I'm not giving you something, then here's a switch, the light switches on and boom, you're in better shape and you're not a statistic. It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. It's going to take the desire to want to be out of that statistic more than it's going to want you to have the comforts of being obese, what that really entails. So my question to you is, what do you want more of? Do you want to become the statistic, or do you want to get yourself on the right path? And if you want to get yourself on the right path, I have a plan. And I have a plan that's specifically designed for people I don't work with all types of people. I work with really one type, people who are serious, who want real change, who don't want to go down that road, who don't want to die young, who don't want to have to go to a doctor and say, yeah, the only last hope for me is to get a lap band surgery, right? Like, that is no way to live. Like, to be stuck on medication the rest of your life, or to be actually homebound, not because of coronavirus, because you can't get out of your house, because you're so unhappy or disappointed in the way you look, or maybe physically you just can't get out of your house. It's no way to live. It's no way God intended you to live. Listen, there is a spiritual part to this as well as a physical. You know, obviously, biblically speaking, physical value is of some value, but God created one of you. He didn't create you to not be your best. Now, I don't know what that looks like for you, and maybe you are at your best, but if you're not, if you're physically not able to do the things that you want to do, and you know God has a path and a plan for your life, and you need to be lined up, not just spiritually, but physically, so that you can do those things, then now could be the right time. Now could be the time that you actually get the help you need. If you're either going to have to invest in time, maybe even some money, invest in some of your resources now so that you don't have to, it doesn't cost you later in experiences, in doctor's visits, in medical expenses, in an early death. So anyway, this is a message that is heavy. Yes, it is. And sometimes I have them and sometimes I don't. I posted yesterday a picture of my progress, and I was thinking to myself, and I got some private messages and started to really think about this epidemic that we have. And yes, this is a heavy message, but I had some people who even reached out to me. They said, Mark, if I could even get to your before picture. And that laid heavy on me, because I know taking care of yourself is hard work, even for the coach. I even told you I have my own personal coach, fitness coach, because I'm human just like you. It's just as easy to get pulled down and drawn away from my health and get lazy and want to just eat all the foods and drink all the booze and get out of shape and not take care of myself. Yes, it's my livelihood, but I still struggle as well as you possibly do too. And I would say is I had to come out and I had to share this message. And I want to give you hope, because the reality is you can start today. I don't care if you're 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds overweight. Today can be the day that you start on a new path. If you need help, reach out to me. Send me a message. All you have to do, message me privately. You don't have to do it here. Message me privately, bulletproof. Right now is the absolute best time. Don't wait until the new year. Don't buy another dumb gym membership you're not going to use. Don't go spending loads of money on thinking that this piece of exercise equipment is going to be what gets you in better shape. Do yourself a favor. Reach out to me. Say bulletproof. We'll see if you qualify. You could be one of the last few people to get this insane deal. I'm making it ridiculously easy and valuable for you to have a coach in your corner for 2021. to combat, to bulletproof your efforts, to bulletproof your body, to get you out of that rut, to get the weight off your body, to get you start living the life that God intended you to live physically, emotionally, and spiritually. If you want in, message me now, and we'll talk later. Take care.